Okay, so today's video is one that I never thought I would ever have to make in my entire life. And now that I'm actually making it, it's not a good feeling. Basically, what's happening right now is I am being stalked and harassed online by this one user, and I cannot get them to leave me alone no matter what I do, and it's starting to terrify me. So, some background. If you guys have been watching my channel for the last couple of weeks, you might be familiar with the fact that I'm actually a huge fan of the channel Everglow Up. And she made a video on misogyny and how it affects both K-pop and South Korea as a whole. I left a comment that apparently didn't sit well with this other individual, and they took it upon themselves to reach out to me via Instagram, message me, say, like, hey, I thought your comment was weird or that your opinions were bad or something about that. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, what are your thoughts? Because I'm always open to having a constructive, productive conversation and just see if, in a civil manner, we can compare where ideologies are, where they overlap, where they don't, and how we got to the different sort of mentalities that we're at. So I was willing to listen to them, even though they started the conversation off by basically saying my opinions were weird. Whatever. So that conversation quickly devolved into them just basically going on rants and tangents and just getting very overly frustrated with me for just not agreeing with every single thing that they said. So eventually I said, like, hey, we're not agreeing on this, we're not seeing eye to eye. Let's just end the conversation here, agree, disagree, and move on. They didn't want to do that. They want to just keep spamming me with more and more sort of hatred and just really trying to agitate me. So eventually I did end up blocking them on that initial account. And in the past, my experiences have usually just been you block someone and that's that, never hear from them again. That wasn't the case in this situation. They tried messaging me again. I declined the message request. I blocked them again. And they just made account after account after account. And then eventually they made one, and the lead message that they sent was, if you just answer one question, I'll leave you alone. I'm like, yes, please, finally. So they asked the question. I gave my answer as to what I thought was the right answer. They were just like, ha ha ha, no, you're so wrong. Insert another rant. They continue to spam me. I just proceed to block them on Instagram as best as possible. They realized they couldn't get me there anymore, so they started creating Twitter accounts and started to spam my messages there. I kept blocking them there. Eventually, they started making Instagram and Twitter accounts and would just make public posts tagging me in all of them, which I have a lot less control over, and they would spam me in that way. Eventually, I took my social media break on, I believe it was the end of August, and I'm just like, I'm done with this. Everything's privated. I can't deal with this person anymore. So I did that, took a break for a while. I made my video, and actually, in the video itself, they commented. I hid them as a commenter, so unfortunately, it's not there anymore. I might still have a screenshot if I'm lucky. That they realized that their actions really had negative impact on me, and that what they were doing was wrong, and that they would stop. And I thought, thank you. You finally understand what you're doing is putting me through so much stress right now, which I don't need on top of everything else going through my life. And it was just painful. So I took my break. I thought it was done. About, I don't know, 2, 3 weeks went by. I figured, let's open everything up again. We should be free. And then they continue to spam my comments on YouTube, spam my messages on Instagram and Twitter, spam posts about me on Instagram and Twitter. And then the final straw that broke the camel's back was today. They found my personal Facebook profile and they started spamming me on there. YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, those profiles are meant to be public for anyone to see. You can spam me as much as you want on those. I really don't care because that's what I expect on those kinds of platforms. Just anyone can interact with me. When it comes to my Facebook, especially because I don't believe that my full legal name is public on my Instagram, Twitter, or YouTube as of right now, so I don't know how they found it unless they try to reset my account and get my verification information that way. Yeah, stay away from my Facebook. That is where my friends are, my family, things like where I went to school. That is private. And once they started spamming me there, that's when I got freaked out again. And like, I don't know what to do. I will try to put up as many screenshots as I have of all the accounts that they've made and try to just let you guys realize how out of their way they have gone in trying to just prove a point. Which, by the way, eventually they stopped saying they wanted to prove a point and that all of this was in regards to mood swings. So I did advise to them that, hey, if you're having mood swings that are this bad that you feel the need to just actively hate on someone and spam them and send just all this toxicity towards them, you really should be seeking professional help because this just isn't what's conventionally seen as normal behavior. So, yeah, they're trying to blame mood swings on it. As a huge advocate of making sure that mental health is seen properly, it's not stigmatized and such. Blaming things such as mood swings or mental health illnesses or things like that on your negative behavior is never okay in my book. Not something I would ever condone. I can't respect it. So, yeah, trying to play us off as mood swings is just. I can't agree with that whatsoever. So, yeah, and as far as the opinion that started this all went, I will put in the description the original video. You should be able to easily find the actual opinion. I'll try to post a screenshot somewhere here just so you guys can see what I wrote originally. Basically, the piece that I wrote was about how in the feminist movement, as well as any minority movement, whether it's equal rights for the LGBTQ+, if it's the Black Lives Matter movement, if it's stopping any Asian hate, unfortunately, you do have to pander to those in power. And those in power tend to be cishet white men, usually of the Christian faith. And they're a lot more conservative than maybe some other groups. But because they have the power, you need to have them as your allies in order to get your agenda passed. So how does that factor into things? Well, the video that Everglow made was about misogyny and sexism in both K-pop and Korean culture in general. And even though the video was about Korea and K-pop, it also does speak a bit about how some mentalities are in the United States as well, which is a much more progressive country objectively than South Korea currently is. And there's this more so radicalized segment of the feminist movement, which right-wing conservative pundits on news programming will call feminazis. Basically, these are the individuals who will say things like the world would be better off without men, and that all men's jobs should be given to women, and men deserve to die because of their sex that they have no control over. So, this kind of radical mentality really scares a lot of men into thinking that the feminist movement isn't about equality, and it's actually about sort of overthrowing the patriarchy and making sure that men become the inferior sex. Now, as a feminist myself, I identify with the feminist movement, I fully support feminism. I can see how this part of the movement can be seen as very toxic, very aggressive, and as a cisgender male individual myself, it can be kind of scary when you see that people do have this mentality that because someone is of a certain sex, that they deserve to be punished for it. And that works either way, whether your sex is male, female, and then we can even get into other identities such as intersex individuals, transgender individuals. So being stereotyped, punished, facing retribution for something you have no control over, that scares people and makes them less likely to want to listen. And I told this person, the more hatred and vitriol you throw at me and the more you spam me, the less I want to listen to your point. And I like to consider myself someone who's pretty easygoing, very willing to open, not very willing to open, very willing and open to listening to other ideas, mentalities, theories, rationalities, etc. But if all you're going to do is just spew a bunch of random nonsense at me across multiple social media platforms, even I'm not going to listen to it. So, yeah, so unfortunately, they're trying to portray me as like this anti-feminist individual, and then somehow they've grouped it in that I am a bigot of all kinds, and I am just not here for the defamation. I support all walks of life, regardless of your age, your sex, your gender, your sexual orientation, your race, your ethnic background, your nationality, etc. Like, my motto in life is if I wanted to spend the rest of my life judging people, I'd be in law school right now. And I'm not in law school, neither do I have any plans of being so. But yeah, so that's basically the situation right now, and I don't know how to make this individual stop. Every time I block an account, they make 2 or 3 more, and they use those to keep spamming me. I have tried to private all of my social media when I can. I've tried pleading and begging with them, like, please leave me alone. I don't want to deal with this, and you're overwhelming me, and I'm already going through a law as it is, and I can't handle this. So, sorry, just if you are watching this and given how obsessed you seem to be with me for no apparent reason, I am asking you one final time, please stop. And if you're going to continue to do this, do it on YouTube, do it on Instagram, do it on Twitter, I don't care. Leave my Facebook account alone, because that scares me that the safety of my family, friends, and acquaintances is going to be jeopardized because of you. And if you're watching this and you are a third party not associated with this, if you have any advice as to how I should handle this, whether it's going to the police or if I need to talk to customer service for any of these websites, like, please let me know, because I am at my wit's end and I don't know what to do to make this better. This individual clearly can't be reasoned with. I've tried being nice with them. I've tried being patient with them. I've tried asking them again and again, like, hey, I get it. We don't see things the same way. I understand your point of view, but we're just not going to see eye to eye on things. I've listened and heard you out, but unfortunately, just my mind is not going to be changed by the arguments you're presenting. They don't want to hear that. They just get mad and they blame it on mood swings, which again proves my point that if you're going to act in just such a rash and impulsive nature, people won't take you seriously. They're going to think that you're insane. I don't want to say that this person's insane because I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose them or anything, but the behaviors and mannerisms that they're using just are not what one would deem to be normal. So, yeah, that pretty much sums up the situation. I don't know what to do anymore. If you have any advice for me as to how to handle it, please let me know. In the meantime, I'm going to keep most of my social media, again, being YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter, open because I have always prided myself on being someone that's there when others need someone. So if you need someone to reach out to because you're feeling bad, having a bad day, need someone to talk to, I'm always a resource for other people, and I take pride in doing so. But yeah, I'm trying to go through all the processes to make sure my Facebook stays private, and hopefully they get the message and leave me alone because they've broken me beyond where I've already been pretty much broken over the last 2 years. So, anyways, videos should resume on the channel starting, let's see, today's Thursday. So, if this goes up by tonight, starting tomorrow, hopefully. And I guess I'll see you guys then. I hope that everyone is staying safe and healthy and happy, and I would never wish this situation upon my worst enemy because I don't know. I cannot handle it anymore, and it hasn't even been 2 full months of me having to deal with this. So, yeah, I have nothing else really to say. Just, again, please stop bothering me. I have begged, I have pleaded, I am asking for your mercy right now, and I don't know what you want, and I don't know what it's going to take in order for you to get the message that what you're doing is having actual and serious ramifications on my life, and it's not okay. So, yeah. Thank you to everyone who is supporting me through these times, and thank you in advance to anyone who has any sort of advice for me. It's really appreciated. And until next time, guys, peace out.